Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Welcome to another episode of PCG News, where we cover paper games, paper computer games, and anything from the universe of paper computer games. Folks, this is a very special episode because not only is it the very first community-based episode where multiple people from the PCG community, besides myself and Chris, of course, have contributed to this video, are joining me as co-hosts in this video, and not only that, but remember that time we did a mega PCG news, and well, this time we've got over 4 times the number of stories as that one, which makes this for sure an ultra PCG news. Ultra! In today's video, we've got lots and lots of new paper games, lots of new paper computer games. We've got some actual computer games based on characters and settings from the PCG universe. We've got new animations and movies and lots more. Stick with us, let's do this.
Oh, hello. It's Chris here. You caught me just looking at these 2 items. Just get the sneaking suspicion that there's some kind of connection here. There's some way to combine these things. Maybe it'll come to me later. Welcome to my segment of Paper Computer Game News. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen, because Flaze has announced a brand new PCG. He's calling it Quantum Collision, and it takes place in the future of the PCG universe. And this is really exciting. He's got a page on the PCG wiki for it, and it's actually, I love this kind of stuff. It involves time travel and sci-fi, and it's about a new energy source called C41, which is still very mysterious at this point, but we're going to learn more, and at some point you crash into the past. Time travel, you gotta love it.
Yeah, dude, I love time travel. It's the best!
Yeah!
Salman the Fish PCG made a paper computer game called Arena Battles, which is sort of a boss battle PCG, kind of like Anstarree's Tenebrous. But the difference is, before you fight the bosses in the game, you have to go to 3 different shops to stock up on armor, weapons, and items. And you can pretty much just buy whatever you can imagine. The shops are just gonna have it.
Every one of these tents has a merchant in each. There's one merchant in each tent. With 1,000 coins, you can get anything that you want. Basically anything you can imagine, they have it.
So it's basically just like a game of trying to use money in as efficient a way as possible. You just have to spend your money on anything you can imagine, but you know, the crazier it is, the more money it's gonna cost.
Something that if I show it to a person, it will, like, I don't know, brainwash them or turn them into my ally, to like turn them on.
A brainwashing device, I can give you that.
Which is one of the unique advantages of paper computer games, is that there's so much potential for creativity, so many possibilities. So this is a really innovative, interesting new idea for paper computer games that uses the whole PCG concept in a new way that fits perfectly with the medium. This is the kind of thing we need to be doing more with paper computer games. So that is a really cool new game from Salman the Fish PCG. I played it in one of our PCG Fridays. I'll link to that in the description below. You guys should go watch it. You guys should play the game. Yeah, because it is super cool.
Hello, let's talk about JPGS's Grand Theft Auto PCG. This PCG is a community-based PCG. It's made based off of Grand Theft Auto, and obviously it has its limits since it's a PCG, it's on paper. It has guns, cars, missions. JPGS mentions that his PCG is open world, which means there must be a lot of things to do, such as doing jobs, heists, buying guns, cars, attachments, and a couple other things. Now, one thing that popped out to me was the art. Like, dude, the art is crazy good. It's like a blocky style, but it's shaded so well, and I really like it. An unfortunate downside is that it does not have a campaign mode yet, which JPGS says will be installed soon, so that's a good thing to look out for, you guys. Make sure you check back in on this, and he will add a campaign mode, which I hope will be fun.
Anstarree released a new paper computer game called Tenebris. Tenebris is a boss battle game, but it's based on the storm, the weather. Like, every boss is sort of themed after like rain, thunder, cloud, you know, that kind of stuff. So we don't really understand the story yet. I think the story is going to be revealed in the sequel, Myrmidon. But for some reason, it's the story of a boy who seems to be just fighting almost against nature itself, or at least against bosses who are basically like storm gods or something. So I played the game in an episode of PCG Fridays that will be linked in the description below. It is super cool. It's just a series of boss battles of increasing complexity, and you have to strategize on how to use your items to defeat these bosses in a series of escalating epic battles. So yeah, super cool game. It was a lot of fun. You guys should check it out.
Well, hello there guys. You might be thinking, why is your boy Brooding Werewolf here? Well, as you guys know, I already appeared in the teaser, and it literally said that the PCG news is co-hosted by the community. So as part of the community, even I'm co-hosting it. So let's get started, shall we? And now first we have JPGS having a paper game. Made a paper game. It's called Dreamland. Well, Dreamland is a pretty cool level-based platformer, and yeah, I pretty much enjoyed it. And
there you go, there's a little guy right there.
it's like giving me that Super Mario feel. Like I feel like Super Mario right now. Like whenever I see the gameplay, be like Super Mario. Here we go. Ooh, 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 ooh. And yeah, it gives me that feel.
Compech Dev released a new paper computer game, which is a swamp survival style game, like Swamp Survival, or under the new term Imaginary Paper Game, which is sort of a subgenre of both PCGs and paper games regardless. It's that style of game where where it's single player and the person makes up their own adventure as they kind of go, just to entertain themselves. Now, it's a really good game if you're a fan of Xoovaq, because this is a huge, there's more Xoovaq in this game than in any other paper computer game ever made that I'm aware of, because there's a lot of Xoovaqs in this game. New Xoovaqs are constantly being created, and this game is inspired by Dwarf Fortress, so you have to build up your army of Xoovaqs and import new guys. I played it on the channel with Chris, but I did get a lot of the rules wrong, so that might not be representative. But it is available on the PCG shop, which will be linked in the description. So you guys should check that out for yourselves, and you should check out my playthrough. It's a super cool Xoovaq game. It's a lot of fun building up forces of Xoovaqs, each with unique personalities, and trying to use that to repel attacks and explore your environment.
Hi guys, how's it going? So today I'm gonna be talking about this. This is a one card PNP. I know this is new to the PCG community and the paper game community, And yeah, so I have found something new, and it's called print and play. It's like you print things, and they can be cards. You need dice for them, like that. So this game is a PNP. You can just download it from the Dropbox, and yeah. So this is the winner of the one card PNP from the Board Game Geek, and you see, this is only one card. I just stuck them on this cardboard. Like there are 12 levels. Yeah, there are 12 levels, and there will be different monster. You can see this is a dragon, and this is a skeleton. This is this. I always get this very hard, these things. So yeah, so this is very cool. You need 6 dices for them. No, 12 dices for them. So guys, thanks and bye.
Now listen up. JPGS has been very busy over at his channel, and you gotta check it out. The one I'm highlighting right now is for the PCG Roundabout, called Escape the Perfect One. It's about the fat guy, the perfect one. Or that's the obstacle in the game. Like, you always have to play a PCG Roundabout with another person. And JPGS, the player, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the player for this game that JPGS gets is a huge PCG celebrity, okay? That's all I'm gonna say, in a really professorial move.
We're actually be playing with Xoovaq. He's our special guest, the life, the clown on a stick.
I love it. You gotta check it out. I don't wanna spoil anything else. But it's a really cool concept, and a really cool back and forth. There's a lot going on. And it's short and sweet, you know? Sometimes you gotta get in there with a short video and just nail it. I don't know why I started yelling.
Yeah! Pokemon Stop 2 is a direct continuation, a sequel to my PCG Pokemon Stop. It is not a direct continuation. It's just sort of like how each generation of the Pokemon video games takes place in the same universe, but in a new region and with new characters, that sort of thing. So they are connected. They are in the same Pokemon universe, but it's not the same characters going on another adventure. Nonetheless, it continues the proud Pokemon Stop tradition of bringing in classic PCG characters, but in a Pokemon universe equivalent of them. Like how in my game, the professor was Professor Ginkgo, who's really Ginkus, by the way. But in this game, the professor who gives you your first Pokemon is Professor Farzikan. That's right, Chris's classic character, who sucks, my arch nemesis, is the professor in Pokemon Stop 2. Like the first Pokemon Stop, most of the Pokemon do seem to be just ordinary Pokemon from the actual Pokemon games.
Alright, catch it. Bloop. Bloop. Bing.
Yeah. Whereas in my game, they were mostly new. They were mostly creatures from other universes, aliens, tribbles, predators, But nonetheless, it is a really cool Pokemon Stop game, a true successor to the Pokemon Stop franchise. I'm glad to see it continue on in this great new game by JPGS.
Well, on the next on the list is again JPGS bringing another game called as Invasion. Invasion is more like a top-down shooter where you kill zombies, and it's mostly related to zombies, I think. And that's pretty cool. It has a dual mode and team deathmatch and much more. So that's why I freaking love this.
Alright, now Compech Dev has started work on a Last of the Zorelta computer game. It's not a paper game or a paper computer game. It is a computer game. You take the paper right out of it. It's mind-blowing. I don't know how they even thought of that. But it's amazing. And it's an adaptation of the paper computer game Last of the Zorelta by Zach, written in actual computer code. And I believe it uses Unity, the Unity engine, if anyone's familiar with that, which is very popular kind of development environment, and things are going well. It's like fully 3D. There's cool stuff going on. There's actually, it might not be fully 3D, but there's 3D elements. Correct me on that. But it's very exciting. I've been in the Discord a little bit, seeing how things are going. It's really looking up, and we're all very excited. And yeah!
It's a really wonderful achievement to the PCG community. We are proud of him.
It was extremely cool to see my classic paper computer game, The Last of the Zorelta, be adapted into a real computer game by Compech Dev. So it was just as cool to see the sequel, Xoovaq's Paradox. Not Xoovaq, Xoovaq, with an X and a Q, because, you know, I don't know, why not? It's not Xoovaq, it's a different character that the game is named after. But anyway, Xoovaq's Paradox, like, it takes the mythos from The Last of the Zorelta, but takes it in a new, interesting direction. It does not stick to the events of what happens after Last of the Zorelta in the actual paper computer games. So that you can think of this game as sort of like its own divergent timeline, its own sequel to The Last of the Zorelta. Sort of like these computer games are their own universe. And in this story, it takes place 1,000 years after the original Last of the Zorelta game. The game is not finished. It's going to have 3 different timelines, because in the first game, The Last of the Zorelta, there were 3 alternate endings. In this game, you can start in one of 3 different timelines depending on which ending you got in the first game. So, once again, like the first game, the game stars Ginkis, my classic character, the star of The Last of the Zorelta, the king of the Zorelta, in fact. He has now awakened after sleeping for 1,000 years in stasis. He's been awakened by his brother, and he has to figure out what is going on. Now, by this time, there are hundreds of Xoovaqs in existence, and they are led by this guy, Xoovaq, which is not Xoovaq. See, Xoovaq is going to create Xoovaq and send it back in time to cause the events of the first game. So, this game gets really into heady time travel paradox, like, confusingness, which is awesome. That is just my favorite kind of stuff. Sci-fi, like, weird stuff going on. The game, unlike the first game, is made in PowerPoint, which is super cool. I didn't know you could do that much in PowerPoint. I didn't think you could make a game in it. You know, I guess the more you know, because this one is pretty darn cool. You get to, like, make choices and talk to characters and pick, like, which thing you're gonna say. It is a super cool game. Hopefully we get to see the finished version of it, but even this beta that's out right now is really awesome. So yeah, that is a really cool addition to the paper computer game mythos, the canon. Even if it's not part of the PCG universe proper, it's its own continuity. It is still a super cool usage of Xoovaq and Ginkis and these characters, this planet, this mythology. So it's really satisfying to see this continuation of my classic game. I really enjoy it. Angry KP has also made Yamino, the first ever virtual paper computer game. This is sort of like a choose your own adventure as well, except this one is in the form of a video, not on paper. Basically, you watch his video and there's like drawings on it, and then it says like, what are you gonna do? And then basically it shows you what happens if you took option 1, and then it shows you what happens if you take option 2. It is pretty darn cool, and like the Xoovaq appearance at the end, awesome. Sorry to give away spoilers, but cool game, pretty quick. You guys can check it out, and you can play it by leaving, you know, your comments at the end. So yeah.
Well, on next on our list is again JPGS. It's made a game called a paper game called Street Fighter. Well, Street Fighter is like, you know, the classic arcade fighting game made by Capcom, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But it includes third-party characters like from Marvel and from Mega Man universe, and yeah, much more. It doesn't give me that Street Fighter feel, but it gives me that Marvel vs. Capcom one, and it's pretty cool. Freaking love it. I want to play it someday. and it's still not uploaded in the PCG store yet. I'm sorry to say about that.
Next up is a real good one by JPGS. This one is called Techno Zombies Season 1. It's actually a comic, which is really cool. You know, you don't see much comics in the PCG community, and I for sure would love to see more. The comic is based off of Zach's paper computer game, Techno Zombies. Now, if you don't know, Techno Zombies is a real good game, and this is a really good comic made from it. The video is really fun to watch as JPGS shows Phil's journey through the Techno Zombies PCG while making really cool sound effects and reading out the characters' voices. If you haven't already, check this out. It's really good.
JCC Paper Games released 2 episodes of an animation about Xoovaq and his friend Aljo. Aljo is a new character by JCC. He first appeared in JCC's PCG, which was an entry for the PCG Jam. He has now appeared in one of my games as well, which was also for the PCG Jam, more, and also seems to be JCC's signature character, and apparently he is good friends with Xoovaq. In these new cartoons, Aljo and Xoovaq fly out into the universe to save the PCG universe from an evil threat that means to stop. The animation is in 2 episodes. It's pretty darn cool. It is, you know, a Xoovaq and Aljo adventure, just them flying off to save the universe, fun stuff. So yeah, you guys should definitely check that out. Link is in the description as always.
Salman the Fish is back with something really interesting. It's another kind of expanding the universe of what PCGs and paper games are all about. And what he's doing is an album, like a music album, right? And it's all like techno, like all instrumental. There's 3 tracks that I listened to on YouTube. I think that's all there are. And they're really cool. They're really catchy. Each has their own hooks, and you know, some have different themes. Like you know, there's some are a little bit more laid back, like Summer Breeze, which has some drops and whatnot. Dance floor is a little bit more upbeat. Intro's got some like neat stuff going on. But it's all really cool, and it seems like these are going to be for some game in the future, which would be really exciting. But I'd like to see more of that, like incorporating music into games. That's always really cool. So yeah, keep up the tunes! I'm yelling again.
JPGS PXG also released some new music based on his PCGs and paper games. Some of these are based on actual themes but modified by him. Others are original. The first is the main theme for his new paper computer game, The Gods. By the way, The Gods is available on the PCG shop. The theme is based on Lost Time by Kevin Macleod. And finally is his classic Spider-Man Miles Morales theme, which is of course based on Miles Morales, who is Spider-Man. The themes all sound pretty darn good, and yeah, they are all really good themes for PCGs or paper games. You guys should check them out. He has them as YouTube videos. Of course, link is in the description.
Well, next on our list is everybody got conquered. I mean, yeah, the PCG community got fully conquered by Fall Guys. Well, Fall Guys is a pretty cool game. I have played it one time. So in our list, there are 3 people who made the Fall Guys game. The first Fall Guys game was made by Angry KP following a different mechanism of the Fall Guys. You can choose whatever costume you want. You can circle on it, and it's pretty cool. And I freaking love it. And I thank Angry KP for making this game because I had a lot of fun time playing it with my friends, and they were like, "Hey, that's a pretty cool game. Who did you make it?" I said, "No, it was made by my friend Angry KP." The second on our spot is JPGS, I think, because JPGS made another game called as Fall Guys, the Ultimate Knockout. It's the same game but with different mechanics. Not just like Angry KP's, but it's much more different. I haven't played it yet, so yeah. Number 3 is JCC. Well, JCC also made the same game with different mechanics, but it's almost similar to JPGS. All three of these games are in the PCG store. You can go and buy it now. I mean, literally, it's just for free. So yeah, you can literally go and buy it now. But buy it after this video, or else I will find you. I will take all of your PCGs away.
JPGS made another new PCG which is called Gnome, the sequel. Because it is a sequel to my PCG, Gnome, which is, it's a mini PCG I made and it was never intended to be played. I only made it for a video, which is a classic video of mine, which is how to make a paper computer game. I finally did end up playing it in an episode of PCG Fridays with Salman the Fish PCG, and it became a whole running joke as a result of that. Everyone was like, what happens next in the Gnome universe? Who is this gnome? You know? So, JPGS is continuing the story, and we don't know much about it yet, but we do know that it is about this new character who is XOOVaq, but he's a human. And on top of that, he is the son of the gnome from the first game. I don't know what is going on with that. Not a whole lot has been released of the game as of yet, unfortunately, but that is really cool, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about it.
The next one also, this is my own news, and yeah, I have created a game called as Call of Duty Phantom Force, and yeah, it is massively inspired by Ski, and it uses the same Ski mechanics with a lot of guns. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I freaking love it.
JPGS also revived a classic tradition from IPGS and the paper game community, which is that he held the what I think is the very first actual edition of the Paper Game Awards. He went through all the paper games, not paper computer games, just paper games from the past year, and he awarded them the best in each category. For example, there was like best first-person shooter game, you know, categories like that. When he did it, he encouraged me to do my own version, the very first Paper Computer Game Awards. What do you guys think? Should I do that? Let me know down in the comments if you think I should.
The next news is the Star Wars game made by JPGS. Why am I including so much of JPGS games in this? You might be thinking. He made a lot of games more than me, and yeah, you play as Luke Skywalker. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Star Wars shenanigans done, and there is a duo mode too, so that you and your friends can play the game too. It's more like side-scrolling.
Salman the Fish PCG released a really fantastic video. If you guys are fans of TutorialBot, you're gonna like this, because Salman the Fish PCG made a video explaining TutorialBot.
It's none other than TutorialBot.
Where he came from, who he is. And little known fact, there is more to TutorialBot than just being a random robot. There is actually a PCG that he came from. It wasn't made by me, it wasn't made by Chris, it was made by my friend Kurt, who is no longer really in the PCG community. The video is very cool. It contains his epic animations, which look really great, and his explanations are awesome. This is a really great video, and you guys seriously need to give it a try. Hopefully someone will make more videos like this in the future, because this one was really spectacular, and I really would love to see more like it. So great job, Salman. Thank you for that, and everyone should check that out. Link in the description below.
Zach from the PCG community, he's making a really big video. It's a video that is big. No details on that, because I don't know anything on that. He just said that it's a big video. He wants to keep it as a suspense.
FlameSpot, you are no longer the only game in town when it comes to PCG-based LEGO animations. JPGS has now released 2 episodes of a Spaceballs Lego animation series. Now, for those not in the know, by the way, we're not talking about the movie Spaceballs or, anything like that. This is based on the classic paper computer game Spaceballs, which was by Kurt. Which is the first game that Tutorial Bot appeared in. These animations are very loosely based on that. It includes a roster of some new characters, some classic characters like my character Rex Bane Theophilus from my video on how to make a first-person shooter paper computer game. Of course, Xoovaq is there. Killbot from the classic Spaceballs game is there. But these people are on sort of like a team to go onto a mission. We don't know much about the story yet, so we'll see if there's any more episodes released. But that is a pretty darn cool Lego animation, so you guys should check that out.
Well, in our PCG community, there are people coming, joining every time, every day, every single day, every single hour. They are joining day by day. We are growing big, and yeah, it's pretty cool because if the PCG community grows, we are the winners. We will be the most biggest thing, and we wouldn't give up like the paper gamers. Yeah, there is paper gamers, but still, we wouldn't give up like the legends. We would stay forever. Well, the first new guy which we got is Earfquan. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm so sorry. So Earfquan, I think, or F1Q has recently joined the PCG community, and yeah, he started to make a PCG V console. It's pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. It almost resembles the V. And I haven't played with the V yet, so yeah, I might even try out for this as a change.
Darsh P is a new paper game channel. He is not from America, and unfortunately his videos seem to not be in English, or at least not all of them are. But his paper games are still really cool, and he's really big, like growing really fast. Already has like over 600 subscribers, which is more than me, and like he dwarfs me in terms of both subscribers and views, and that is because, for a very good reason, because his games have really cool art. Because his games are not in English, unfortunately I can't tell you too much about them, except look at them yourself. They just look pretty darn cool. But he's made games from Underground Mission to Pokemon to WWE to an Among Us game. He's even made his own paper phone. So he is a pretty cool new channel. You should check it out. Even if you don't speak the language, it's still cool stuff. And so that is, of course, linked in the description below. Check it out.
So yeah, well, the next newcomers list is HiddenSquid. So HiddenSquid is a pretty cool guy. He made he made a DS console, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And then his PC is Pocket PCG, also known as a cartridge in the game, in the console. It's called the Stick of Truth. And let me tell you the truth, because of that Stick of Truth, it brought me the truth to say that the game was pretty cool. And one of the best games which I have ever seen. Really cool Stick of Truth. HiddenSquid, really like it. Well, that's it, I have to go now.
Cool Papercrafts is new to the PCG community. He made a video explaining how to make a pocket paper computer game. Of course, pocket PCGs are the new form of PCG that are small enough to fit in your pocket. They were first created by the Sonic activist and has since expanded to be used by JPGS and others. And so, Cool Papercrafts game is inspired by Sonic activists' classic Pokemon, classic Sonic PCGs and paper games, which is pretty darn cool. The art is good, so he also has other paper game videos on his channel, so you guys should definitely check that out. Another newcomer to the community is Paper Games with SUVID. This is a brand new channel. It's only about a month old, but it is growing fast. Already he's got about 25 subscribers. Unfortunately, it's not an English language channel, but he does got some really cool paper games up there. We've got an Avengers game, a Power Rangers game, which is cool. I grew up on Power Rangers. I was a big fan. So, and I'm pretty sure this is the first Power Rangers paper game I've ever seen. So that's pretty cool. And he's got a Pokemon paper game. So that is super cool. And yeah.
As part of this 2020, PCGs and the PCG community has also launched PCGs en Español. And right now we only have a few videos on the page and they don't have too many views, but we're still going on strong. Some of the videos that you can find are how to draw Xoovaq, how to draw Pollencio, where I show you how to draw this guy, and a short of, but wait, there is more.
JPGS released a PCG comic based on Spider-Man. This is called Spider-Man X, and it is basically tied in both with Paper Computer Games and obviously with the Marvel Universe. It's set in an alternate Spider-Man continuity in which the symbiotes, like, Venom, are invading. And because Eddie Brock is experimenting with the symbiote, they're able to create symbiote hybrid monster things. The art is pretty darn cool. There's a video linked in the description. You guys should check that out. Anstarree is back with some of his usual excellent content. He has created a new paper controller for his paper console, the Prism, which is a vast improvement over the old controller. This new controller, it has an analog stick, which is a really innovative feature, which is super awesome. You can actually turn it, which I think is super cool and should be incorporated into everyone's future paper controllers, which is really and PCG console controllers, which is super handy because, like, he also has added a tutorial on how to create one of those. And all you need, it turns out, is aluminum foil and paper to make one of those awesome, realistic paper analog sticks. Flaze PCG made a video showing off his awesome PCG portfolio. It is a sort of a binder with his awesome tutorial bot art on it, as well as a lot of art inside of it by him. Some of it is printed out from the PCG shop. Some of it is new to him. Unfortunately, he doesn't say anything about it, so I don't know what each item is, but his art is just really cool. Well, look at that tutorial bot, that is gorgeous. So you guys should check that out. Link is in the description as always. And just as there is a Paper Computer Games Discord, there is also now a Paper Games Discord created by JPGS. So if you're a fan of paper games, you should check that out. Of course, the PCG Discord also has a lot of paper games on it, so there's a lot of overlap in these communities. But yeah, so there is a new Discord. Check it out. Flaze PCG started a new collaboration with the entire community where everyone is releasing videos telling how they first joined the paper computer game community, how they found out about paper computer games, how they got into it. And a bunch of people have already released videos explaining their stories. Angry KP released a video, and so did Cold Brooding Werewolf, so did Salman the Fish PCG, and their stories are just so touching. Like, I had no idea how everyone got into paper computer games, and it is awesome to see. If you guys want to know my story, let's just say you'll find out. But regardless, guys, you can do this yourself. All you have to do is create a video making a story about your own paper computer game and then just put in the description hashtag PCG Story. It will be counted as part of the PCG Story series. Anstarree has also created an Among Us paper game, which is really cool, and it's an original idea. The concept for the game is that it is basically based on a choose your own adventure. Now, for those who don't know, choose your own adventure is a series of books where basically you adventure by, like, you read a page and then at the end of the page you have to make a choice, like, if you want to go this way, turn to page 1. If you want to do this, do the other thing, turn to page 10, that sort of thing. So this is like that, only it's a paper game, and it's based on Among Us. So it is a really clever game idea, and he created, like, characters, and you have to make choices to, basically get you'll figure out who's the imposter, just like in Among Us, but it's sort of story-based in a way, which is super cool. It is a very clever way to do something with the Among Us concept. So you guys should definitely check that out. It is a really cool video, just like all of Anstarree's videos. So yeah. Sadly, Cold Brooding Werewolf's game on God of War has been canceled. Unfortunately, it would have been the very first paper computer game ever made based on God of War, and it would have had story elements from the PCG universe as well. Sadly, that game has been canceled, but Cold Brooding Werewolf does have a lot of new games in the works, which you'll find out about right now. HackTroll Jr. made a paper computer game called The Terrorist, which is an epic, creepy, mystery sort of paper computer game where you're kind of exploring through an old house and you're trying to find out what is going on, and there's a humanoid creature somewhere inside that house which is called the Terrorist. Who is it? Where did it come from? But more importantly, what is it? Because whatever it is, it's not exactly human anymore, and it has powers of these red splotches which just kind of infect everything. So the game looks pretty darn cool. I mean, it's got a lot of puzzles and a lot of exploration, lots of items to pick up. So it's a really cool game. And HackTroll Jr. is continuing to expand on the mythos of the Terrorist. He released another video in which he explains the origins of the Terrorist, which is sort of a stop-motion paper animation. In that video, we see how the Terrorist formed out of the remains of another person. And it looks like we're going to be getting even more Terrorists pretty soon. Angry KP Official has created a trailer for a new paper computer game which is called Brox, the Legend, because he is a legend. Now this trailer is pretty darn epic. See, Brox, his entire planet was destroyed by the Fat Guy, the classic paper computer game character of the Fat Guy. And now Brox wants revenge. I don't know what is going on with this guy, but it is pretty darn cool. He's got this like epic arm, looks like some kind of cybernetic arm, and he's got some other characters going on over here. And the Fat Guy, of course, is making a big appearance in this game, looking pretty menacing. Detuned Paper is back. He has finally released a new game in the Detuned World series. This one is called Detuned World Wasteland, which is pretty darn cool. There's not a whole lot of story to it yet. He says he's going to hopefully release more story updates in the future, but as PDFs, but so far that hasn't happened. But as always, Detuned Paper's art is amazing. He's created super imaginative creatures that populate this world. The most notable new feature of the game is that you can teach your monsters special skills, and also the random enemy monsters you encounter in the game will have those special skills. So it is pretty darn cool, kind of like a Pokemon-like experience, but in a really nicely drawn world with a lot of interesting locations to explore, like the Great Crater. What is going on there? We don't know yet, because again, we're waiting for one of those story updates. But either way, this is a really interesting world to explore, and yeah, super cool game. The game is available now in PDF form, and it can be played via the PCG Discord with Detuned Paper. Message him there if you're interested. Download the PDF, and yeah. Detuned Paper also released another PCG, which is called Cave Control. And the premise is, you're a miner, but monsters have invaded your mine. And you don't like that because like the mine's just been abandoned so long that monsters have started to infest it. So you've got to go back down underground into your mine to clean it out of monsters. The game uses a simple combat system which lets you use your picks and your weapons to get past monsters as well as obstacles based on how strong they are. And your goal is to just go all the way through your mine and clear out every room. Every time you use a weapon, it gets used up, so you have to go back up to the shop to repair it. So it seems like a pretty cool and clever idea. It's only a one-page game, But a very cool idea, and always, as always with Detuned Paper, really good art, so you guys should definitely check that out. Detuned Paper has also released a new paper console. This is called the Detuned Paper Companion, and he released a video giving instructions on how to make it, which is pretty darn cool. You can follow his instructions and make your own. They are very precise. JPGS has been quite busy. He released 2 paper computer games in the same video. I think both are available in the PCG shop. The first one is called Battlegrounds 2. It's a sequel to the first Battlegrounds paper computer game, which is a battle game, just as the title suggests, and it allows you to choose your weapon, upgrade your stats, and he has a pretty interesting map to be explored in the game, so that is pretty darn cool. The second game is called Warfare, and it's pretty similar to Battlegrounds, but this one is a multiplayer combat game where multiple players can spawn from different spawn points, and they have to basically take turns trying to shoot at each other using, once again, a selection of different guns and weapons which you can choose from at the beginning of the game. Pretty darn epic.
PCGs en español presents. Oh my god, is it a squirrel? Oh boy, I hope it's a squirrel! Indeed, it is a squirrel, and the reason to bring it up is because this happened during one of Zach's live PCG plays, when a bunch of us were typing, and I had a typo. I wanted to write ardilla, but I ended up writing ardilla. This created the first ardilla PCG ever, to which it still doesn't have an official game, but I hope that I can see some of ardilla in your future games. Tutorial repair. On this PCG, you play as the customer who brings her broken tutorial bot to a repair shop that is run by a spider, a very creepy manager spider. Adding to this PCG soup, we have a few extra new characters featuring Poyencio, Asshand, Stermo, and Gete. I played this PCG with Zach, and you can rewatch it on Paper Computer Games. This year I had contributed to with characters for Zach's big video where he tells the story of how Paper Computer Games came to be, and I was responsible to make Zach entries on 3D as such as a cage and SUVID.
JPGS made a series of 3 paper Pokemon games. Paper Pokemon is a series that was originally started by Detuned Paper, but JPGS has taken the concept further. Basically, Paper Pokemon is like an exact paper version of an actual Pokemon game. It uses actual screenshots from actual Pokemon games, as well as stats, actual Pokemon, and actual sprites. So for that series so far, he's released Paper Pokemon Ultra Red, Paper Pokemon Platinum, and Paper Pokemon Purple. All 3 are available in the PCG shop. They use data from Detuned Paper, as well as a lot of screenshots from the actual Pokemon games. Pretty cool. Head over on there to the PCG shop and check that stuff out, or to JPGS's channel to check that out, or to Detuned Paper's channel to check out the original Paper Pokemon game. JPGS also released 2 more combat games. The first one is called Sky. I know it's spelled like ski, but it's pronounced Sky. It's sort of a combat game with, like most of JPGS's games, lots of rules and like lots of weapon choices and stats. It has a whole village for you to explore where you can find cool stuff within it, which looks pretty darn cool. The second game is called Sky Zone, which is the sequel to Sky. And Sky Zone has a much larger play area. There's lots of different stages to be explored, like this boat, which it has a lot of battles with cutout figures, and once again you have to roll dice and use weapons of your choice to defeat your enemies. JPGS released a game called Fantasy Strike. It's based on a video game, an actual fighting game for the Nintendo Switch. This game uses paper cutouts and stickers. It's for his console, his paper console, the XDS. JPGS also made a game called Parkour Assassin. This game was inspired by my video on how to make an Assassin's Creed paper computer game. I don't know much about JPGS's game except that it's, based on that, because I couldn't find a video for it or a game on the PCG shop. However, that is pretty darn cool that he built something based on, my tutorial and Assassin's Creed. It's a good concept. I like it. Anstarree released a game called Myrmidon, which is a sequel to his first paper computer game, Tenebros, in which you fight against sort of storm deities. But we don't know why. And in this sequel, Myrmidon, we're going to find out why. He's going to build on the story, whereas the first game was more of just a boss battle game with not much story. This one is going to build up the story, and we're going to find out why. Unfortunately, currently I'm not able to play that game, so I don't know much about it. And I haven't watched the video about it. I haven't watched this video overview of it because I don't want to give myself spoilers, because I'm still hoping that someday I'll be able to play it. So, I don't know. But I will link in the description so you guys can check it out. I'll put some footage right here so you can see it, even though I'm not looking. See no evil. So yeah. JCC Paper Games released a one-page paper game for the PCG Roundabout, which is called Shoot on Page 1, because there's only one page. And the game is just what it sounds like. You play as Aljo. It's a first-person shooter paper computer game, and you have to shoot some enemies. You got a zombie and some other kind of an enemy, and you just shoot them. And that's pretty much the game. So, yeah, it's pretty darn cool. You should check that out. Yosa Games made a paper game called Clash of the Islands. The game has an interesting story where all these islands, looks like there are islands floating in the sky that were once they were all in peace and harmony until the god of chaos, Kamos, split the emerald that keeps the piece into 4 pieces, and now a hero has to reclaim them and put them back together because the islands have been plunged into constant warfare. The game has really good and imaginative art, which is really cool, and I would like to see more of this game. But the good news is Yosa does have 20 minutes worth of gameplay overview of this game, which is pretty darn cool. You guys should definitely check it out. JPGS released a new PCG console known as the PCG Xbox. The console has a PCG fighting game for it, where you get to play as Xoovaq or Tutorial Bot against each other, which is super cool. JPGS released a new handheld PCG console, the PCG DS, which is really cool. He showed off 2 games for it. The first one is The Adventures of Farzikan. Of course, Farzikan is from Chris's PCG Ghosts, but in that game he was a skeleton ghost, basically. This is an alternate version of Farzikan in which he's still a human, and he goes on an adventure across this strange landscape. JPGS didn't show too many details of it, but it looks pretty darn cool, and I really like returning to the character of Farzikan in a different way. That's awesome. Compech Dev released a paper and pencil role-playing game system, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but instead of that, it's called Puzzles and Xoovaqs. And he has already released one adventure for the system. It so far doesn't seem to have any connection to the PCG universe, but it's called Temple Hero, and it's got some pretty darn cool stuff going on there. Interesting locations to explore, like the Drongo Bondo Forest. Like, you have to revisit the same temples multiple times, so it seems to be an intriguing adventure. It seems like it would be a fun thing to start a campaign in if you're into paper and pencil role playing. Really cool world building Compech Dev. YouTuber Kammy Fanny has been making a lot of paper games, but but they've been mostly unknown to the paper game community, I think, or at least I haven't been aware of them. Well, these games are unlike traditional paper games. She seems to make them to follow, where you have to follow instructions. Like she has a Click Me paper game where you click the button and then it opens to different instructions based on numbers. There's a Facebook paper game where which makes the players actually go to Facebook and do stuff there, like their friends' posts or whatever. And she even has, like, more recently, closer to a traditional paper game, an Among Us paper game, which is actually kind of like Anstarree's Choose Your Own Adventure paper game. So her art and her crafting skills are pretty darn cool, so it's a really cool channel. You guys should check it out. And yeah. Compech Dev has been building on the lore of the PCG universe in his new series of videos, PCG Explained. He explains his concept of the Antempus universe, a four-dimensional universe that existed before the PCG universe and from which the PCG multiverse was born. That is pretty cool. He has 2 PCG Explained videos so far. You guys should definitely check him out. He's looking for ideas for more, so definitely give him ideas. And yeah, awesome stuff.
All right, well, I guess that's about it for me. But I guess before I go, I just feel like there's something, you know, like this and this and... Oh, it's on the tip of my brain. What? Got it, right? Parchment controller times. Can't believe I was so stupid. All right, well, thanks a lot. Bye.
All right, folks, that's all the PCG news I've got for today, but thanks so much for watching. You guys are the best. And, yeah.